want to
No
podcast
with
Chad Ferguson.
Hey everybody, this is Chad with the I Want to Know podcast. Again, we're having some technical difficulties today, so I'm here today with Dragos Paunescu.
Close.
Oh, every time. This is the third introduction we've done tonight, and I still haven't got it 100%. Okay,
So
give them the real version.
Dragos Paunescu.
It's so cool. I've said that 3 times, and I still think it's super cool. So you're from Romania, or your heritage is from Romania. Did everybody you grew up with think your name was as cool as I did?
I don't know. I got a lot of dragon or dragon associated things, but when I came to Canada, I wanted to Americanize my name. Yeah. Because I was shy about it. Yeah. I wanted to fit in, so I went with Dragos. Yeah. Which is easier to say, I guess, but the actual thing is.
Wasn't that a character from the Rocky movie? Wasn't Dragos? Dragos. So it's very, very close. Yeah. Yeah. So I met you probably 3-4 years ago when you and my daughter were both taking acting lessons through Torchlight Theatre or the Spark program here in Airdrie. Yes. You continued on. You went to Vancouver and you did your Vancouver Film School. How was that?
It was crazy. It feels like a dream still, because it's been a month since the program finished and reality's starting to kick in. Yeah. But it still doesn't feel like Vancouver was even a place.
Oh, really? It's too short?
Yeah, it was way too short.
Yeah.
And then when I was there, I was, I can't wait to finish and go to the next step. And now that it's the next step, I'm like, I should have cherished my time because it just went by super quick.
I think that's super true in life as a whole. That's just part of it, is that in the moment it's so exciting, whether it's getting married or having kids or in a relationship or starting a new job, it's so exciting, but you rarely sit back and really enjoy those moments. Yeah. I wish there was a way to teach that so that people could do it every time.
Yeah, I wish I could master that skill.
Right?
Just be in the moment all the time.
I know. Yeah. You got to be some Zen warrior or something like that to be able to do that.
Go study with monks.
There you go. Tibetan monks. Yeah. So what did you learn in film school?
It was split up in 6 terms. Yeah. So each term was 2 months, 2 months. Yeah. And all sorts of stuff, like different breathing techniques and different methods, and substituting different life experiences into your work.
Very cool.
Just a very broad, dip your toes into everything.
Okay.
And then it's kind of up to you to figure out what works, what kind of artist you want to be, what kind of stuff you want to make. Yeah. And then really it was mostly about, for me, it was mostly about connections, the connections that you made and just learning from one another, because there's people from China and Kazakhstan and Europe and Africa and everywhere, and they just all come together. And
it's pretty high or pretty sought after school, then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Very cool. Yeah. So what do you want to be now that you've done the whole thing? Is it acting? Is it singing? Is it guitar player? Is it street performer?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to seem I just want to be an artist. I just want to make art.
But you want to be an artist?
But I do. But I don't want to seem too I don't need the money.
Pretentious.
Yeah. I guess that's But just for now, I think I just want to create stuff, and right now it's acting. Yeah. I'm really into acting, and I want to be an actor. Yeah. But it might change. I'm open to it. I might get into directing or making my own films and stuff, because that interests me too. But it's all just
cool. Yeah. So you've had a little experience with live theater and a little experience with film and stuff like that. Which do you prefer right now?
That's a hard one. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something to be said about live theater. The authenticity. You got it. Authenticity of live theater. Yeah. It's just there and in the moment, and it's raw. Yeah. And then film is equally as beautiful too. Yeah. But it's just different energies, and I like both of them. But okay. For now, I want to explore more film. Yeah.
Better money in film too, right?
Yeah. I want to be able to work in this field and in the film industry, and so I wanted to go the film route. But who knows?
Yeah.
Things can
doing plays can be awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, Chelsea Restall owns Torchlight Theatre, has been on a couple of times, and we were talking about it. And since the last time I had her on the show, what I would really like to do is watch a play for at least, if it's only playing for 2 weeks, I'd like to watch like all 8-10 shows that they're playing in those 2 weeks and like watch the progression of it, because I think you give someone enough time. You imagine running a show for a year, how you could really dial into that character and who they are and what they're feeling in that moment, where, small black box theaters get, 8 shows or 6 shows, and you don't really get to see that experience. But you would see some of that if you went to every single show.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And for the actors too, like actors that get a role and they go with the theater company and they do that play for a year, or like 2 years, and they tour. Yeah. And it's like, how do you keep that fresh, that character that you're playing every time you perform it for like 2 years or a year? Yeah. It's insane.
Well, even having a sitcom, playing Joey for 6 years, like how do you, what's up, buddy?
One of the cameras froze.
Try to unfreeze it while we're going. You can try to fix it while we're in the midst.
We got this.
Yeah, it's got you going. That's it. That's it. Stay in that position, exactly like the camera. Eric, you don't have to unplug it. You just have to go into settings.
We're just doing some Shakespeare.
That's it. We think it might be a dog issue. We're babysitting a dog. So if you guys are hearing some squeaking in the background, it's a high-end Schutzen competition dog. And he's a little bit crazy. He's whining nonstop because his sister is at home and in heat, and that's why we have her, or have him. Ooh, camera's up and running again. Look at that. We have a master on the board today.
Hell yeah.
Well done, Eric. Thank you very much. If you're tall enough, you could reach that light too, because I forgot to turn that on. I'm just kidding. You won't be able to. No, he's going to take a chair and do it. Look at this, on the fly.
Adaptation.
As we go.
Improv.
Improv. We're going to get this done. What were we talking about? Live theater.
Live theater.
Oh, and playing characters over and over again. You know what I realized, and probably very late in my life, is that almost everything that people do is about repetition. That, if you're a heart surgeon, it's not a big deal because you do heart surgery every day or every other day, or you do that type of surgery over and over and over again. And you could take a monkey and teach them the movements and most likely be able to do just about anything physical movement. Obviously, monkeys can't talk over and over again. And, being a good actor, being a good singer, songwriter, like how many times has Bon Jovi done?
Yeah.
Some of his popular songs, right? That's what it's about. It's about repetition, and the better you are at that, the better you are at your trade.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you guys go over that kind of stuff in acting? Like, do you talk about the birth and like how you get like, okay, we got to stop evolving this character, or we need to continue, or?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't think like it ever stops. I think like it stopped because the program ended. Yeah. But there are things that I'm still exploring, or things that I'm still breaking down.
Yeah.
Like I'll be in bed and I'll think about what someone told me or an idea or something, and I'll be like, "What? Like, I get it. Like I want to go back."
Dawns on you now.
Yeah, and like every time we would do a performance or a scene or something, it'd be different every time.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of like scene workshops where we had a short amount of time to work on scenes and kind of build these characters.
Yeah.
And every single time we did it, it was different. And I don't know if that's because the time scale that we were under or what it was. But I think every time that I've ever done something, it's come out different, at least maybe in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like everyone's always worrying about like their job. Yeah. So it's like the actors are always like, oh, like how am I?
Yeah.
Did I have moving eyebrows? Like, were my eyebrows dancing in that take? And the sound guy's like, no, bro, you're good. He's worrying about his sound. And cinematographer's like trying to rack focus. They're all like, you're good, you're fine.
The thing that drives me nuts about the judgment, right? Like, 'cause that's what you're in a trade where you're going to be judged all the time.
Yeah.
But there's people that come up and go, oh, this is brilliant. This is awesome. You did. And in your head, you go, I can do better. right? Like where you get this wrong advice, and how do you decipher which one is the right one? Because even the director, if he doesn't care that day, be like, yeah, that's good, let's move on. You go, no, I can do better. I can do much better.
Yeah, there's definitely like an internal conflict all the time, which kind of keeps me attached to it.
Okay.
Like there's something about it where I'm like, in the moment, I'm doubting, but then afterwards, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be fine. It was a good job, or maybe it wasn't the best, but next time, kind of thing. And it's this kind of chase, and in a way, like I don't like you might have heard, but your mind is your friend, but also your enemy at times. And it's literally that. It's like your mindset on that day.
Yeah.
And then if you're in that doubt kind of phase, it'll probably come out, and it could be beautiful.
Yeah.
Or it might not, and. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still figuring stuff out. Like,
well, how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19.
Yeah,
you got a whole world of time. I've got nephews that are your age, and I'm like, they're babies still. Because I think about to myself at 19, and I was a legit retard. Like, you're so far ahead of the game at where you are. You've got passion, you've got drive, you've got direction. It's one of the reasons that I wanted you to come on the podcast is that I get to meet some successful people that have done some really, really cool things, and they're older in their life. But I've also got to meet people at the beginning of their career, and you just get a feeling about somebody that, stands out above the crowd, or they look different, or they sound different. And that's why I wanted you on, because I see a young guy with such passion and such drive and direction that I know in, I don't know what year it's going to be, but in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, all of a sudden Dragos, the superstar, is going to be back in my studio going, I remember what you said. And so that's why I'm here saying that I see a bright future for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's I like watching people with drive. And where did it come from? Where do you get your drive? What pushes you? What makes the passion?
I guess I just like cool movies. But it started out when I was young, like really young, and I always really wanted to be in movies.
Yeah.
And I took movies way too seriously. Like when King Kong died, spoiler alert, in like the 2005 remake, I was so sad for like 2 weeks.
Really?
I was. What's the purpose of life? King Kong is dead. He died. It was the beauty killed the beast. Oh my gosh! And then like that's like the one that I remember most clearly. But that movie like affected me.
Wow.
And I don't know what it was specifically in my brain at the time. I think I was like 8 years old. But I always thought about being those guys, especially when I realized that these are actors, and this is something that you can do, and like you can be involved creatively in like the making of movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would be cool to do, but I don't think I'll ever do that. And then I let it go, and I was like, I'll just be an astronaut or a scientist or like
all the little kid stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, not to say that one can't.
They're great.
That's awesome. But like, I realize I'm bad at math, so astronaut, scientist, like all that. Yeah, but yeah. And then one day I was 16, and it was summertime, and it was just really dull.
Yeah.
And I was going through that phase, like that rebellion. I want to do something kind of against the grain, kind of like. Yeah. Rebel. I thought I was really badass and cool, and I was like, drama. I'll do drama. and I didn't know anything about anything, so I just Googled like how to be an actor, WikiHow.
That's crazy.
And it's like all the steps, like go take classes, get an agent, like all these steps that take a lifetime even of like getting all these things done. And I'm like, okay, in like 2 years I'll be an actor. It's fine. And even now, like now that I'm done the program at film school, I'm like, so am I an actor now? Because I don't know, like
you're only an actor if you act.
Exactly. Well, yeah, if you say you're an actor, I don't know, like, but yeah, and I Googled Airdrie acting classes, and then Kim Chill's acting classes popped up with Spark. Yeah. And then I took that. And then she told me about Robin Hood auditions through Torchlight, and then I auditioned, and then we did Robin Hood, and then started doing theater, and I was like, I really like this.
Cool.
And
you guys did that short movie, too, at the end of one of the Spark seasons, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was like a zombie or...
Like a post-apocalyptic.
That's what it was.
That was my first ever taste of film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that got you hooked? Like, I've had the opportunity to watch some films being made. I used to be a security guard in Vancouver's Chinatown.
That's awesome.
And so, trying to think of the movie. He was the immortal swords guy.
Oh, Henry Cavill?
No, I was trying to think of the show. So they did with Mulder and why am I getting so old? X-Files was filmed in Vancouver's Chinatown. There was one restaurant down there that they filmed all the time. And then The Highlander, that was the name of the movie. So they have the immortal swords people. So I got to see the behind-the-scenes stuff a whole bunch way back in the day. And maybe it's different now. But it was so cool to be on set and go, like there's I can't even remember the actor's name, but a famous actor that I see on TV every single week. And he's just sitting there having a coffee or reading a paper or talking to somebody. And he's just a normal guy. And I started thinking back then that like, oh, this is for anybody. Like as long as you put the work in, you do the stuff, then you can be this person in this show. And it's good to see you where you're like, yep, I could be anything. I could be film, actor, stage. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy watching new talent come up and grow. That is my favorite thing to, see you in Robin Hood, and then the next thing I see you in, you'll see this gigantic step, this change in who you were as a person and how you act, and I love that. Singers, songwriters, all the same thing, or there's a progression.
I admire singer-songwriters so much because I always say if I was born earlier, like 40s, I'd just be a rock star or something. Because I admire like all these rock star legends and stuff like that. But
the industry is different, right? Between music and acting. Like I think I don't know if it's better. Maybe it is better for actors. Like if you get a decent acting gig, a movie or a TV show or something that's repetitive, it can be really, really, really good money. And a majority of it you take yourself, right? You have some travel expenses, you have some agent fees and stuff like that. And then you want to, Chelsea talks about this, when an actor gets a big role and stays in his town, that town will get better because he'll, hire people to work on his cars and to clean his house and to all that kind of stuff. So it's beneficial when you see someone in your town come up but music is so different because they just don't get that same cut. Like you're going to get 60-70% of the cut that comes out of a movie, where musicians get like 10, 12.
Really?
Yeah, like it's super low. I was listening to some podcasts with some rock stars on there, and in the beginning, like they take everything for getting your music out there, for getting it to the people.
Like a distributor.
The distributor, right. Like they want a piece of the merch, they want everything, and then when you're traveling, and I've heard this happening to actors as well, where they're like, oh, the limo's going to pick you up here and take you here, and then you're staying in this hotel, not knowing it's come out of your wages. Right. So, they want you to feel important. Like, oh, we rented you a Ferrari at, $8,000 a day. But you don't know that's coming in. It's like, oh, super cool. Someone rented me a Ferrari. And not knowing that you're actually paying for it. They just play this whole game.
Wow, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I've heard stories of actors that have gone through that. And all of a sudden, at the end of a movie, they're like, yeah, you got no money.
Yeah.
Like you had a Ferrari and you stayed in the Hilton.
I'm not doing it for the money, man.
That's brilliant.
It's just like, I guess like being in Vancouver, you meet a lot of creatives.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to, which is great. I think it's great, but everyone wants to be like that. Like, just do it for the love. Like,
but what's wrong with doing it for the money?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Like it's silly to me that I have a friend that's a painter, and for years she literally lived off of like welfare and the food bank, and she was this phenomenal painter.
And she was probably really happy.
Well, she wasn't. So this is the thing. So she would complain to me about where she's at. And I'm like, well, what are you doing to get people to see your art? Well, nothing. I just like to paint. And then you're not an artist. You're just a person that likes to paint. If you're an artist, artists sell their stuff, right? Actors sell their talent. Singers sell their music.
They want their stuff to be seen or impactful.
And so I said, you can say you have a hobby and you're just a poor person, but you spend all your money on art supplies and canvases and stuff like that. So I said, why don't you look at the business side of it, learn a little bit, a little bit of Google, a little bit of effort.
WikiHow.
And 3 years later, she went and bought a house.
Wow.
She runs a studio and a gallery, and she just saw the light, and up she went. And I'm like, why do people have to be hungry or broken to do an art? And I think you get something out of that suffering, but you don't have to suffer forever.
Yeah, I think finding a healthy balance, just like with anything, right? Mm-hmm. But that's one of my goals too. If I can do this for a living, then that'd be super cool. But
it would be.
But
we're on your side. We're voting for you. We're sending the good vibes.
It's like a long haul.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. Like it's up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Because when I go back, I'm gonna submit all my stuff to agencies and see. And I think I'm ready, but somebody might disagree. They might say, "Oh, there's somebody like you on a roster," or all these little things, or do more plays, get more experience, come back. But yeah, like I guess as a foundation, I'm like, if I want to do this, I should do it for like the love of it. Mm-hmm. And then if I'm able to get money off of doing it, then that's like a perk.
Yeah.
But I can't lie and say I don't want to, like, right? Like we all dream of it, but it'd be super cool if I like get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But
and this is the other thing I realized too, is there's levels to the whole thing, right? You can pick up one commercial a month, or a spot on a sitcom, or a little background piece every month for the rest of your life, and you'll never be, I can't even think of a big star's name.
I watched the Mel Gibson movie today. Mel Gibson.
Yeah, you may not be a Mel Gibson, but you can make a living at doing what you like.
Exactly.
And I see singer-songwriters do that. I have a friend, Ryan McMahon, who did the podcast We'll Be Back On Again, and he still sleeps on people's couches, and he's been doing it for 10 years. He's got songs on the radio. He does like small theaters and stuff like that, but he loves doing it. And so he gets to do what he loves and make a living. Now, I don't think he's getting rich. He's not like, rolling in Ferraris, but he travels and does exactly what he wants to do every single day. And how is that not rich?
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's a different, like it's a different type of riches.
Yeah, exactly. It's compared to the guy that goes into the office and sits at a desk for 9 hours a day doing something that he hates, right? Yeah. Sits in traffic for 4.5 hours. Yeah, Ryan's got some snowy roads he's got to deal with. And we have a comic coming on, I think in March. His name is Tim Nutt. Same thing. Phenomenal comic. Never reached like the highest levels, like he's not doing Madison Square Gardens or anything like that, but he makes a great living. He goes skiing all winter, hangs out at the beaches in the summertime. And I think that people in their head go, I need to be the Brad Pitt or the whatever. And it's great if you make it there, but it can't be what drives you to get there.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Going to Vancouver, I was definitely in that mindset. I was like, all right, Brad Pitt, or Johnny Depp, or all these movie stars that I grew up with and like idolize and look up to. Yeah. And then I quickly realized that it wasn't about that. And I'm like, hey, if I can just be a guy and make a living, like I'm solid.
I know. It's so cool. I mean, I wish you're the next Brad Pitt or the Johnny Depp, or you get the next Alice in Wonderland movie. That would be phenomenal to see.
Yeah, it would. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Are you applying for acting gigs in just Vancouver? Or are you going to be looking at Toronto, LA? Are you going everywhere, or are you going to just be regional?
I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm starting with Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then I'll see what happens.
Second hottest spot in Canada, right?
Yeah, or first or second. It's Toronto and Vancouver.
They balance back and forth?
Yeah, at least that's what I've been hearing. I'm not like I haven't even like I don't have my hand on the doorknob yet of like opening the door because I just finished and then now I'm going back, so I really don't know anything 100% either. It's just different ideas, but I have to actually like apply myself and take the action when I'm there, because it's really easy to just ease and be like, all right, I finished. I'll take a break for a month because it's been almost a month since I got out of school, and then I can feel myself starting to ease, and I'm like, oh, wait a bit.
Shouldn't relax.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm just gonna go and submit and see what happens. But usually people say, like people that I talk to around that have been in the industry for quite a while in Vancouver, they're like, don't go to LA unless you get an invite.
Oh, really?
Or they knock at your door, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just like there's enough of us already. Please don't come.
Right.
Or if it's actually like a legit thing. But I think it's just for the welfare of like young artists that want to do this.
Yeah. Well, it's an expensive place to live. It's not overly safe. Like, I don't think you want to be out in the urban areas where you have to travel or commute for hours to get down to a rehearsal or something. So you're going to live in downtown LA in some crummy apartment while everyone's getting robbed and shot and shooting up around you. Like,
drive like 6 hours to go see your friend for a coffee.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be down there in February for work. So we're going to do a conference in LA or San Diego, in downtown LA.
That's awesome.
So I'll let you know what it's all about.
Do it. I've never been. I'm so curious.
I had been to Disneyland, so Anaheim, when I was 16, but that was the only other time. I landed in LA and flew out, but when you land in LAX, it's nowhere near anything. So like to get to the nearest mall, I had a 9-hour layover, but I was told it was a 2-hour cab ride to the nearest mall from the airport.
Wow.
So there's nothing close. So I'll actually be in LA for 4 days. So I'm super looking forward to that.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's so weird though. Like you would think that things are closer because it's LA, but maybe it's just like Californication kind of. Yeah,
and maybe it's changed now. I mean, granted, last time I was there in 2001 or 2000, I think. So I mean, that's 20 years ago. That's 20 years ago. That's a long time ago. That's actually on my trip to Australia. I had a 9-hour layover in LA.
Wow.
So yeah, the airport's cool. That's all that I saw. So what's your next semester look like?
Well, I'm done.
Oh, okay. So you're just going to Vancouver to actually start looking for jobs now. Okay.
Yeah. A mixture of scared and like excitement.
Yeah.
It's a good combo, but
yeah, anxious.
Yes, anxious. It's that mental game kind of thing, It's like, all right, like I got this. I'm enough. I can do it. I can, and then hope for the best, really. Because
you just need the life experience now. Reading books, playing guitars, swimming in the ocean, surfing, like anything you can do to gain experience and meet people, and that's where I think it's going to be at.
Yeah, there was this guy. He said we're interested in lives, not lines. And,
very cool.
I don't know if it's his original line or if it's from a book or something, but just like lines on paper.
Just get it going again. Sorry, Dragos.
It's all good.
There we go. We're up and running again. We're glitching. We're not. Son of a...
Glitching out. Did it drop?
Totally dropped. Can you pull the sound out of OBS? All right, we'll just continue on OBS and see what happens.
Right. Keep going.
I am flipping out mad right now about our... Okay, everybody, sorry. I'll let it go.
It's okay. It's okay.
Next time that comes up, Eric, take a screenshot of it so we can give it to our tech guy and figure out what's going on. It's crazy. That's crazy. Anyways, lives, not lines.
Yeah, lives, not lines. And at first I was like, okay, that sounds... cool. It's super interesting. I didn't really think about it too much, but then I was like, the more rich your life is, like in sense of things that you do, things that you're into, kind of the more interesting that you are, or the more like interest you have in things in life will make you richer of a person. And then when you get roles, if you get roles, and you're ultimately just bringing a piece to yourself to the role. Yeah, it's just you. Yeah, and all it can be is you. I'm saying that right now, but maybe in like 4 years I'll be like, that's total BS. Like,
I don't think it is though. I've heard this with lots of people.
Like
right you listen to any talk show, the Graham Norton show, or anything like that, and they'll talk about Chris Hemsley, who's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt was talking about it, and he was saying that like when he was trying to be an actor, he would go out and learn card tricks. So magic, like anything to increase his ability, change the way his mind works. Like, play guitar for a little bit. Oh, I'm going to try painting. I'm going to do all this. And it just builds that part of your mind that makes you whatever it's going to be. If you get a role that you need to be, a magician, you're like, oh, I've done card tricks before, where the other good-looking actor hasn't done card tricks before. They're more likely to pick you. So just gain as much experience as you can in the short time.
That's 100% what it is. Yeah, I think so. That's what I think as well.
So what's on your mind to do? What kind of things you want to try?
I have a friend. His name's Axel.
Yeah,
and
that sounds made up.
No, his name. I mean, maybe it's a stage name. Yeah, actually, he's from Sweden.
Oh, okay, could be Axel.
Yeah, his name's Axel, and his last name's Boss. So I don't know if it's Axel Boss. Pretty badass.
That's pretty badass. That might be made up though.
I should ask him. Yeah. But he's been writing music and releasing it out on Spotify.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's super cool. And then that's when I started playing guitar more. And I've never been much of a singer, but I'm starting to develop my voice.
Cool.
Is my voice correct? I'm trying to develop my voice. So I was thinking about maybe doing some singing lessons and then writing my own stuff.
Yeah.
And then some martial arts, because I'm kind of soft in my nature.
Yeah. Martial arts is the king of giving you discipline.
Yeah. I need something, as well as the physical element of it, but also the mental. Because, knowing how to punch a guy can come in handy on film, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I would highly, because I've done martial arts for most of my life, so I love martial arts. So make sure you get some boxing or kickboxing in, and definitely some wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be an MMA fighter, but jiu-jitsu will give you some discipline that you've never had before, and it'll rip you up. Lean you down, give you muscle. It's a phenomenal workout. I think it's something like 600 calories a half hour is what you burn doing it.
You got to eat a lot.
You got to eat a lot. But in a good club, you'll gain brothers that you'll never lose. It's phenomenal. So yeah, some kind of stand-up art, some kind of ground art, you'll be well set.
Yeah. How long did it take you kind of to build the skill set in martial arts?
Very shortly. I mean, I did most of my MMA training out of Toshido's in Kelowna under David Lee. And I found within 6-7 months, I felt very confident in we went to our first tournament and I was rolling with guys that had way more experience than me, and we did very, very well. We used to have guys come into our club that we roll with or spar with. We did everything, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, wrestling, boxing, we did it all there. If you put your energy into it, it's a system like anything else. You'll get good at it fast. And it's just a matter of time, right? If you played your guitar 4 minutes a day, you're not going to get very far. But if you played it an hour a day, all of a sudden you're making some progress, right? And so just allowing that time to make sure, you're practicing regularly, you're drilling, and then you're thinking about it. When you're fighting somebody, when you're sparring somebody, it's just all about figuring out what are their tells, right? If they're going to jab, are they going to throw a right hand after? Are they going to throw a left hook after? What are they going to do?
Cool.
And you try to figure out the system of the mind of the person in front of you, all based on their movement. So they'll do something that you'd only be able to pick up with camera, but in your brain you go, I know what you're doing. You're going to jab 1, 2, 3, because every time you do this twitch, this is what you do. So it's like a game of chess, but with dire consequences.
That's awesome. You're reading people.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
You're reading movements. The fun thing with jiu-jitsu is once you get to learn significant amount of skills, you spend a year, 2 years in there, and maybe you're moving towards your blue belt, is that rolling and just close your eyes. And then, so you're not looking at them. And typically when you're rolling in jiu-jitsu, so you're two guys on the ground in a clump, you're not seeing their whole body even when your eyes are open. So close your eyes and just feel all of their movements. Why is that leg going up? Why is this hip shifting? Why is this shoulder dropping? Why? And then you calculate that in your mind. You put that all in there and when his hip drops, he's doing this. Or when his shoulder pushes on my chin, he's doing this. And you put that system together and you figure out you can even start to calculate what is possible. So I'm going to put my arm out here, and what are the 9 things that he can do to me, and what are the defenses for that? And if I defend this, that he tries, can I get an offensive movement after that? And
wow, so you're like 3 steps ahead.
You try to be. And guys there's guys that are way better than me out there that, literally write this stuff down and they have a plan and they, actually, the guy that did it was really, really cool. He's not even a martial artist. We just watched a documentary the other night. I think it's called The Soloist, and it's this free climber. Is that the name of it? It's called Solo, I think, is a documentary. And this guy does the most dangerous rock climbing with no ropes. He does it with. Have you seen it?
I've definitely. I know what you're talking about. I've definitely seen that around.
Yeah.
Like I can picture the guy.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a green helmet or something.
He's kooky, kind of weird guy. Like he was telling a story about when he was 23. He goes, I realized people hug a lot. I should get good at that. And he started learning how to hug it. Good. And he's like, I'm a pretty good hugger now. And you can just tell there's something a little bit different about him. But so to do this climb, and I can't remember the name of the mountain, but it's 3,000 feet, 3 kilometers.
Yikes.
No ropes. And so what he does with ropes first, he goes up and he literally journals like, at 450 feet, I'm going to put my left middle finger into this crack and I'm going to put my right toe here and I'm going to do this. And he journals the entire thing.
That's
and then
insane.
It's insane. And then he'll even have options where he'll be like, hey, at this spot, I could, release my left foot, stretch my leg across, release my left hand, or I could keep both my feet on this side and I could leap to the other side. And he goes through all the options of what he can do. And that's sort of what martial artists do, right? Like if my hand's extended this way, these are the 4 things that he can do. So I'm watching for this so that I can do this defense or this offense or whatever it is that's needed. And so it's like the craziest game of chess.
The human mind.
It's so cool. And we're designed for it. Like I think that...
Primal.
What's that?
It's primal.
100%. I think that's what it is where our DNA is designed to fight or to defend or to, take land or however you think that your genetics are. But we're made to do this.
Yeah,
that's my martial arts speech. Sorry.
No. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely looking to get into it.
Yeah, I'll try to look up some clubs that I know about in Vancouver. I can't think of any names right now. What's up, buddy? Yeah, we're gonna. If it craps out now, it craps out now. We'll start over again, which we're not gonna do. Yeah, so I'll find out some guys that I know that are training in there. I know some guys on the island for sure that I used to train with, but I know there's some good clubs in Vancouver. Where are you staying in Vancouver?
I'm living out of North Surrey right now.
North Surrey.
Yeah. Kay. So it's just like Fraser River and then New West, and then I'm over the bridge, essentially.
Oh, okay. So in like Wally.
Yeah, right there.
That's where I grew up, actually. I know that town really, really well. Sorry to hear I usually tell people I'm from the Lower Mainland. I'm not from Surrey. Because Surrey's kind of...
I had my impressions. No, it's like I never had any problems.
No,
it's just like the... what's the word I'm looking for? Like people talk about it a lot, but it's not as bad as it.
I could tell you a dozen Surrey girl jokes. I'm not going to. But yeah, like that's where I grew up. So it's a little bit rougher than when I was there. It's a little bit grungier, some broken down stores.
Yeah, rough around the edges a little bit.
Definitely some drug dealing and prostitution right on King George Highway now that didn't used to be there. Even though they closed down some of the skeezy bars and stuff like that, it's still a little bit rougher than when I was there.
Yeah, the only experience I had... well, there's occasionally dudes like screaming outside of my building. And then I remember I'm standing at the platform for the SkyTrain, just waiting to go onto the SkyTrain. And it was late. I was going out or something. And there was just 3 other guys, and they were just eyeballing me. And they're standing in that pose.
Yeah.
Like that. They're kind of just like flexing on me. And I'm like, there's nothing cool about getting into public transport.
Right.
Like, we're getting on a public transport.
Yeah.
And they're just like flexing their jawlines and kind of like giving me the side eye. And I'm like, dude, relax.
That's totally Surrey. It happens all the time. I was one of those guys when I
grew
really?
up.
Oh, I was total shithead when I grew up there, going to pubs and getting into fights and nightclubs. And yeah, I was a bit of a bonehead. I do sort of miss that era a little bit. Growing up in Surrey, all my high school friends and that are there and stuff. But I'm glad I'm living where I am. But Surrey's not as bad as I make it out to be, or anyone else does.
Yeah, no. We always used to make jokes like, "Oh, like Surrey gang," because there's 3 kids in my class that lived in Surrey.
Yeah.
Like on the same road as me, and whenever we'd go back, it'd be like, "Oh, Surrey gang, we're going back." And we had our little gang kind of thing. But
yeah, if there's more than 2 people, it's a gang. Yeah. Exactly. I remember I went to high school there, and gangs were sort of becoming pretty prominent there at the time. And so I had taken, it was like pre-law 101. You can take it in high school. So it was kind of an introduction to what law would be like in university. Yeah. And so I took this course, and one part of it was about, it's all about law. But anyways, they brought in a police officer to talk about local laws and stuff like that. And there was a bunch of gang members in the course, and they asked about being in a gang, and it was most definitely, the cop knew. I look back on it now, it was so silly. They're all trying to be inconspicuous, but the cop's like, yeah, we know you're in a gang. Yeah. But the funny thing that he said back then was that if it was illegal to be in a gang, we couldn't have the RCMP. That's the largest gang in Canada, right? Just they try to uphold the law, and you're being a dickhead and smashing windows and stealing cars and selling drugs and stuff like that. It's not being in a gang that's illegal. It's doing what illegal gangs do. It's the bad thing. But yeah, it's a fun little city. Well, I'm excited for you to get back to Vancouver. I want to hear what's going on, and we'll find you a good martial arts class.
That'd be awesome.
What else did you do? Windsurfing.
Windsurfing. That's the parrot with a.
It's like a surfboard with the sail on it.
Sail.
Yeah, so you're actually standing on a surfboard, holding onto a sail, and takes you out into the ocean.
Oh, that'd be
That's
awesome.
a blast to do there. You're super close to ski hills, Cypress and Whistler and Blackcomb.
Yeah, I've actually never skied.
Never?
Never. I snowboarded in Quebec when I was 9 or 10.
Okay.
And I remember I hit a kid, and he flipped over me, and I was like, "Dude, are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm fine." And then I went back up the slope, and then I went back down again, and I saw him, because you know how they have ambulances, like,
right.
I saw him in the ambulance, and he had his arm in a sling. So if you hear this,
I didn't mean to.
It wasn't me. You said you were okay.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then I never snowboarded since. I just haven't had the opportunity. But
have you visited Whistler while you were down there?
Yeah, I went once with a friend, and then my family visited me, and then we went up. But we just drove through. We didn't stay to do like anything.
You got to go into the village.
Sure.
Into Whistler Village.
It's where I live. If you're interested,
the Newton Wave Pool. That's the Surrey Village. Yeah, Whistler's pretty awesome. Pemberton has some really cool hikes up there. 100% worth spending a little bit of time. Summertime's better, I think. I'm not a big winter person, but summertime in Whistler and Pemberton will blow your mind.
Are they long hikes?
I think there's a little bit of everything up there. Like there's a app called All Trails, and so if you download that app, wherever you are, it'll tell you all the hikes that are closest to you, or you can enter in like Whistler, Blackcomb, Kananaskis, whatever.
Wherever you are.
And it literally has a GPS, so you could just follow the map through the
Can you
woods.
send that to me, actually?
Yeah,
I'm
for
interested
sure.
in
We'll
that.
do it all. It is so cool to do up there. Cultus Lake, phenomenal place to hang out.
I haven't been.
Cultus Lake. It's just outside of Abbotsford. So as you go through Hope and starting to come into Abbotsford and Aldergrove, it's just after Hope coming west.
Right outside.
Yeah. Some great camping up there. Allison Pools. Oh, you're bringing back memories, dude. I could tell you so much about Surrey and the Lower Mainland. I could tell you stories about me growing up there and living there. That's I won't. I was pretty much a shithead back then. So when you were doing school, I'm here. I'm reminiscing about Surrey. I should be asking you questions.
No, we're sharing.
It's okay.
It's good.
What would you hope to get? What would be the ideal job for you? Is it a sitcom? Is it a movie?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I mean, like right now, I just want to do it all.
Yeah.
Because I haven't actually done any like I've tasted things.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten the chance to fully immerse myself, so I'm really excited to do that. But I think it'd be cool to work on indie films.
Yeah.
And then I really want to do stuff that's dark and gritty.
Cool.
Like I'm all for the happy, lovey-dovey stuff too, but I personally really like dark, like gritty stories.
Yeah. Would you be the villain or the hero?
I don't know, because I think
it'd be fun to play both.
It'd be fun to play both, or like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Where you sympathize with the character,
right?
And who this person is, but they're also not making the best decisions. But then you're judging the character because then that character's mind,
right.
you know. But yeah, I would love to just do something not controversial.
Yeah.
But something like that, like dark and gritty, like an anti-hero, like of a role would be super cool to play.
Yeah, like a Bruce Willis type of, like he sort of plays the hero. What was that movie he did where he was the gangster? It was killing everybody with Matthew Perry. Shoot, I should have Eric up here looking stuff up for us on IMDb. I can't think of the name of it right now. Anyways, he is the most lovable murderer you can imagine. I think it was called Jimmy Five Fingers or something like that in the show.
Wasn't it like Five Monkeys or something like that?
No,
is that Bruce Willis?
This was a comedy. I think he did the
12
monkeys.
7,
whatever. We're like, yeah, he's the most lovable murderer you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty cool role. You think about like the Viking TV show.
I was just watching that last night.
They only put 2 seasons on Netflix. Chokes, they're on like season 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, you can write an email.
I should. I totally
come
should.
together.
Yeah.
On behalf of AirDream Netflix users.
There you go. Like they care about the little AirDream. Yeah, that's a phenomenal series, eh? They knocked it out of the park with that one.
Yeah.
They're not doing a great job of getting distribution though, because it's hard to find.
Yeah, I found that too. Like I was looking for it on different places other than Netflix, like the other seasons.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it.
Right. I had Minix Box for a while, and I was able to get up to season 4, I think, on there. Yeah. But even that was getting difficult to find, and try to find something from overseas in Iceland or Europe or nothing. Yeah. Can't do it. But it's a great show.
I'd love to be on that show.
No kidding.
That's like a dream.
Right? Yeah. What part would you play on that show?
Maybe I'd be the guy in the back that gets like an arrow in the chest or something.
First guy dead in the scene.
I think, yeah. Like the role that Ivar,
yeah,
like one of Ragnar's son,
the one with his legs doesn't work,
with the bone disease.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool role.
That's a super cool role
because at points you're like, okay, this guy he's bad, but then he's good, but then he's bad, but then he's good, and there's kind of this in between, and I think that's challenging in itself to play that.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm still so attracted to him, like as like this guy who like I want to see his arc, and so I'm like I watch these kind of characters and these kind of actors, and I'm like I want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that'd probably be like my.
I don't know what that actor's name is, but boy, did he kill that part! Eh?
Yeah.
Like, he just nailed it. Like some of the scenes where, I think it was the brothers had the castle, and spoiler alert, I don't know what season this was in. But anyways, he was attacking his brothers at a castle somewhere in England. He was trying to take it over, and they had the brothers had set up like a wall of archers, and they fired it off.
I don't think I saw that episode, but go on.
and Iver's standing there, and he knows he's on the edge of the archers, like no one can shoot him. He just stand there staring at the arrows as they're like coming at him, and zero fear. And you're like, oh, this dude's crazy.
Yeah.
And that was one of the parts where he played, because some of it was a bit cheesy in the beginning when he killed his brother at the dinner table with the axe. That one, you could see he was still growing in the part. It was kind of when he re-emerged into the season.
Maybe it was like an off day. I don't know. But
could be director, whatever. Like I'm not shitting on him at all. I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah,
he did a great job.
He's Danish. He's from Denmark, I believe.
Okay.
I believe he's Danish, and his name's Alex.
Yeah.
His first Alex Anderson, I think.
Okay. That sounds like a good Danish name.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the actors on there. The girl, the mom.
She's from Toronto. She's Canadian, I'm pretty sure.
She's got a pretty thick accent, but she's done a bunch of series. She's doing a martial arts series as well.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's like sort of a mystical Chinese martial arts thing. It was a pretty cool series as well. But it started already? Yeah, I think there are 2 seasons in. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It sucks getting old and forgetting stuff all the time. I can picture it in my head. I can't think of the name.
I understand.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think you might be acting right there.
No.
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know how far we're in because everything is crapping out on us today. I have to solve this problem soon, but I wanna thank you for coming out. This was a blast.
Thank you for having me.
Next time you're back in Calgary, give me a shout. We'll do it again. We'll get an update on the roles you're playing and the plays you're in, the series, the getting on Vikings. They'd fly you over. Can you imagine like being in Iceland doing?
I don't know how that even works. Like,
but you'd figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Do you want to promote your social media?
Oh, sure.
Let them know where to find you, and I will post it on our social media.
Well, my name is just my Instagram name. Is just Dragos Paunescu, and
try to spell that, everybody.
Dragos Paunescu.
Perfect.
And then that's my Facebook as well.
Awesome. Go check them out.
Thanks for the
shout out. You're going to post any of the new acting gigs you get, anything you're allowed to, I guess, right?
Yeah. I've been working on that because I kept starting new pages, and I'm like, okay, this will be my actor page, and then it's not, and then I'm like, okay, I'll start another one. This will be my actor page, and then it just but I'm just gonna keep one page and just update.
Perfect.
My entire
You're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Just Instagram and Facebook.
Perfect. That's all the ones you need.
Yeah.
Twitter's hard.
Yeah, I had it for a while, and I was like, what is this shit? And I just stopped.
I'm the same way. I tried recording an episode yesterday, and the guy's like, all I do is Twitter. I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to solve that problem. Anyways, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
post
me.
all your stuff. I'll let you know when this is up and running. Everyone, thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. And because my monkey left, I'm going to go to outro. Hey, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. This podcast is over.